thing I'll ask is, what do you think Black feminism is? Any ideas? And some people have a little advantage here, so I'm going to ask people who are in the class and teach wonderful classes also, looking at womanists and Africana women's studies, to not answer. Any ideas? Just throw something out there. You don't have to raise your hand. What might it be? What do we think it is? Any ideas that you're like, I came here to find that out. So any thoughts? Hey,
Could it be an approach to feminism that looks at the intersectionality of
Alrighty then. Okay. We'll start there. I like that. All right. So an approach to feminism that takes seriously the issues of intersectionality. Okay. That's a very good start, right? But that's a little weighted. It's very, I think that really gets into some of the questions we're going to get into today, right? Any other thoughts? Anything to go off of that? What do we think it might be? Ideas? Yes?
Something that breaks the model of the ways of feminism.
Okay, breaking the model of the ways of feminism. Okay. Anything else? I'll take one more. Sure.
A group of feminists who are Black women who are tired of white women running everything.
Okay. All right. So we have three here. All right. So we have three very interesting kind of answers to that question. Now, to follow back and kind of move back on that question, so then what is feminism? This is Black Feminism 101. Right? How we have a conversation is that. And what is feminism? Any ideas? Yes?
The empowerment of women.
Okay, empowerment of women. All right. Yes?
Well, I know the term has evolved over decades, but back then it used to mean belief in women's rights.
Okay, belief in women's rights, women's empowerment. Any other ideas?
The attempt to make all people have all options open to them.
Okay. The attempt to have all people have all options open to them, women's empowerment, and as you said, that few choice again?
Women's rights.
Women's rights, right? Access to women's rights. All right. So if we take seriously both of these ideas, right, that we have these fundamental assumptions about what we think feminism is, what it does, and what the project does, and then we qualify that as saying Black feminism, right? We get to this idea of why Black feminists might say, I'm not just a feminist, right, or I am a feminist, but I'm a Black feminist, to claim a certain kind of position with an understanding of politics that is equally committed to empowerment, like that word rights, right, equality, that's based on ideas of, they go beyond just gender, right, but we're talking about race, we're talking about class, we're talking about gender, we're talking about ability, we're talking about sexuality, ethnicity, religion, spirituality, right, we're talking about a number of things, which gets back to the earlier point of this intersectional space. One of the earliest kind of ideas of Black feminism and how we think about it, and I'm going to really take in kind of African-American feminist thought for a little bit, right? That this is not to say, right, that there are not a number of Black feminism who aren't in the United States, but I'm going to take a few examples that come from a U.S.-based context to give certain kind of context. So as far back as, when do we think you start to hear the words like feminism come into existence in terms of U.S. history? How far back do you think we got to go to think about a feminist politics?
Early 1900s?
Early 1900s? Any other guesses?
1840s.
1840s, okay. Any other guesses? So when you might hear? Well, yeah.
I was going to say, I think Abigail Adams had something to do with it, so she went call.
Okay. Yeah, 6 minutes. Okay. Yeah.
This might be far-fetched, but in my art history class, I actually just learned about a queen in Egypt who like wore like a fake beard. So, you know, just to say that, like, just to show that she had just as much power as like a male king ruling over Egypt. But that was like back in like, let's see, the 2500s BC. So I mean, that might be far-fetched, but that's kind of what I think about when I think of feminist.
And that gets into questions of kind of gender performance and gender expression and how we locate power. I mean, that is very fascinating to think about that, right, as a tradition of seeing people who are transgressing certain kinds of boundaries, certain identities that aren't inculcated, but there is certain power that's located oftentimes in certain identities. So the dressing as a male to indicate power suggests that maleness is a space of power, and what that critique is, right, that movement offers. But if we think about Black feminism, first is this kind of intellectual and writing tradition, right, that we see. We see this as early as African women are brought here as slaves, right? We see it as early as that. Even before we think about what we imagine as kind of the first big feminist movement in this country, which is often talked about as suffrage, right? The right to vote. This is one of the earliest rights we talk about when we talk about women's rights in the context of the United States, right?
Exactly.
But if you look at the position of Black women entering into that conversation, I'm not even free, right? That woman isn't even free. This woman is an enslaved woman, or if you're in the very small percentage that is a free woman of color, you are still, right, denied citizenship in very real ways. So the idea that we think about something like anti-slavery activism, right, abolition as a feminist cause, right, what does that do to think about that Black feminism actually begins with the quest for freedom and what that means and control over one's body? Right? So as early as thinkers, we talk about people like Maria Stewart, right, who asked, and I'll just quote her because I like to let these women speak for themselves because the voices of these women are often overlooked and understudied, but asked the question,